All right, let's talk about the genesis of the narcissist. Like, how does it evolve um, in development, and how do you go to reverse, and how do you come normative variation, right? So what occurs? Put it to about the process of hardening a narcissist as an identity, probably from about age 9 to 21, although there can be some variability. But there's some theories and thinking that personality hardens by age 21, and that's probably pretty accurate from what I've experienced and observed. But how does this process happen? So a narcissist has a combination of a genetic disposition towards narcissism and some environmental factor. So some kind of chaotic situation where controlling other people became the way out of it, right? And you double down on it, double down on it, double down on it, and just refine that general motivational strategy. And that's how it gets hardened. And then once that's, got its own momentum, and then you identify with it, it's like identifying with a parasite. Um, that's when you become a narcissist. That becomes your identity. Now, there can be variation, right? So, a narcissist parent, for example, I think in Amber's case, it's her father's influence. His father was convicted of like animal torture and that kind of thing. Very narcissistic type of behavior. So, and she was the golden child of the two sisters. From what I've seen, I would suspect. And so, being that we like other people that like us, she probably saw herself as a daddy's girl, mimicking father who's a narcissist, and then that became a hardened behavior and eventually an identity. You can go in an opposite direction. So, say she was exposed to her father and became super empathic, right? Super um, just accommodating, codependent. So she could have gone the reverse direction of a narcissist as far as development, and even that has its own downsides, right? So she could have became a doormat and just became somebody who's looking for a father figure, etc., and just become a pushover. And then there's like normative variation, right? So you can have narcissistic traits. Everybody has narcissistic traits. And then empathic traits, and you just kind of muddle your way through. You don't identify with one extreme or another. You're conscious of both extremes. So you're trying to guide your development into a way that's not categorically one extreme or the other. Usually, this is like a mother father type of relationship. The father is the narcissist, mother is empath. And so it builds and builds and builds, and you're about 21. And we could say at that point, narcissistic tendencies become narcissism. At this point, you're not evolving out of it. These people don't seek help. They do not. They spend a lifetime in narcissism, and it becomes a self-feeding cycle, right? So not only do they think there's nothing wrong with them, and they don't seek help, so they don't change. But they're constantly explaining away the distortions in their own perceptions and their own behavior, and um, uh, getting in the habit of not empathizing against their victims, and it just feeds on itself. So you're constantly looking for power and control of other people as your means for stability and your sense of esteem. And no amount of control is enough. No amount of people you control is enough. No person can ever satisfy that. So they're in chasing a elusive goal of the unending fuel source, and it just doesn't exist. So that is the fate of the narcissist, but you see it Genesis at early in life. And this is the point where education can intervene in between this period, I would think, and stop the identification process on either extreme. So whether it's an empath or whether it's a narcissist, um, if you define this conceptually, the natural inclination is to moderate. And that's what needs to happen at an early age before momentum starts to build, before an identity gets hardened. And these effects of narcissism will compound on itself and feed even deeper narcissism because they're never going to recognize the source of their problems. And once it's hardened as an identity, there's no getting out of it. The best you can do is contain and avoid, and and just recognize the habit. So that is what I see as the narcissistic genesis. Thanks for watching.